Hi, and welcome to Season 2, Episode 13 of SteamLUG Cast. We are recording this on Saturday, June the 27th. My name is Cheese, and with me I have John.
Hello, I've just been poisoned.
And DerRidda.
Hello.
Oh yeah, that's going to be Friday the 27th of June. Apologies, it's Saturday the 28th for me. Huh.
He's one of those crazy Australian future people. You can tell by the apocalyptic wasteland.
Yes. So we're doing something a little bit different to usual on the cast today. We're actually playing in our Starbound server while we do the show as a bit of an experiment.
It's probably the worst idea ever.
Going to be exciting. Yeah, it's great. I love worst ideas ever. They're the best thing. So how have you guys been? DerRidda, we had some audio problems earlier, but they're all sorted now?
It seems to be.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Yep, you're definitely audible, no static.
So the question I'm curious about now is, what's the name of the planet that we're on here?
No idea, how'd you get that?
You can see it from the ship, but I didn't look. So, let's start the show as we usually do. John, what have you been playing lately?
As some of you may know, I've been away on holiday for a week, well, just under a week.
So you have?
Yep, I got back a few days ago, so all I've played, apart from for stuff that I've been testing, is Line and Circuits. Now, both of those we've mentioned before, and I sounded reasonably excited for both of them. Line, I really like. Absolutely adore. It's really cheap in the Steam sale at the moment. If you like any sort of path drawing puzzler, you should get it. Circuits, I'm less enthralled by now that I've played it. You have to listen to audio and then select from a choice of different, little musical components and put them on a circuit. So it's less brilliant compared to what I thought it was a couple of episodes ago, but it's still reasonable. So what have you been playing, DerRidda?
I have been playing some more Dota 2 since my Dota buddy is actually returned from his Wildstar hibernation. And I have been playing a lot of XCOM, some more Civ 5 and a bit of Anti-Chamber. And you, Cheese?
I've been playing, excuse me, obviously testing some The Fall, which we'll talk about a bit later. XCOM I picked up during the sale and have been spending quite a bit of time with, enjoying that quite a bit. A little bit of Battle Block Theatre. I finished playing through that with my co-op partner a couple of days ago and enjoyed that. A little bit of Civ 5, some TF2, and of course Guns of Icarus Online. Moving on to community stuff, we, as far as past events go, we had our big Guns of Icarus Online event just after the last cast, and we had a decent turnout for that. I can't remember, did you guys hang around for that?
I did not.
Nope, I'm still having too many problems with Unity.
Ah, yes. Yeah, hopefully we can see some sort of resolution to those come through soon, but it really is a tricky situation at the moment for Linux gamers who want to use or play Unity games. We also had an Awesome Noughts event not long after, which I caught the beginning of and had to leave a little bit early. It seemed like there was a little bit of trouble getting people into lobbies, but those who did play games seemed to have fun. I think you were there, DerRidda, is that right?
Yeah, for Awesome Notes, I was around. Raged at that game's bullshit it tries to pull off sometimes. But yeah.
It did sound like you were having fun at the time, though.
Yeah, I was having fun, but the game has some bullshit elements to it, like the lag when you get hit from a mile away, and the server crashes because it changes host for no apparent reason in the middle of the game. That was a bit terrible. We had a good game going, and then it got cancelled because it changed host and failed to do so, and then the server was gone, the game was gone.
Whoops.
Yep, that is pretty much Awesome Notes in a nutshell.
We had some lobbying trouble with Battle Block Theatre as well. A number of people who couldn't join games that other people were hosting, but could join games that other people were hosting. It ended up being a little bit like Worms, when Worms ends up being uncooperative.
Do we know if that's Steam matchmaking issues or these ports, or because I'm not going to say there's a pattern here, but there's definitely a small collection of games out of all the ones we're playing that have issues with matchmaking.
Now, it's not even matchmaking. Matchmaking is fine, but the game for some reason decides to optimize who is hosting the game when the game is already on, and it just fails to do so. It's a derpy netcode of the game.
Okay.
For awesome nods, at least.
Yeah, I can't say it's very obvious in Battle Block Theatre where the problem is. It was a little bit confusing for all of us there, but we broke up into smaller pairs and just played like sort of 2-player co-op, which was a bit easier to manage, and that was fun. And quite enjoyed that, and I think the people who were playing enjoyed that as well. And then the day after we had the Hammer Watch event too, which I think I heard people having lots of fun with. I couldn't attend that myself.
No, I think I wasn't here for that. So
I thought that I heard DerRidda playing, but I had to sort of disappear just after it started, I think.
Not Hammer Watch, not this time.
Okay.
I know Namoda was playing many hours later.
That's good to hear.
As far as upcoming events go, there's Starbound after the cast, which we're playing right now, which is why we sound so distracted. Tomorrow we've got Planetary Annihilation, and of course we've got our regular twice a week Guns of Icarus practice events at 2 AM UTC on Tuesdays and Fridays.
Now, you were saying the Guns of Icarus Online Guild was doing quite well. Do you want to fill people in?
Yeah, so we get a bit of attention for the guild, or clan, I think they call it in game. Start to get recognised a bit, and we get a lot of people who like the way that we play and want to join the clan, and aren't really familiar with us being Linux users, and sort of, you know, not everybody wants to be involved with that sort of thing, which is fair enough. But we still get, I think within the last month, probably had 5 or 6 new people that I hadn't come across before join in, and most of those have been people who'd found the game on their own and then discovered that there was already a community of Linux users playing, decided to join us, so that's really positive. We've also had another clan, I can't remember the name of it, who want to set up some sort of friendly skirmish competitions and stuff between the clans, just as a kind of way to get people more into the game and playing a little bit more seriously and stuff, but still having fun. So that might be something to look forward to as well.
I was actually wondering if we should do a bit more to expose clans for games on our website.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. When you mentioned the projects page when we were talking the other day.
And it would be something to, I don't know, maybe to show off or highlight some community members that have, that own guilds, to sort of organise it and, funnel people to the right people to talk to get involved.
Yeah, because we got the Dota 2, I don't know, is that a guild?
Yeah, that's a guild.
I'm not sure what else we've got, it's possible that we've got a lot more community stuff that penetrating games that I don't play so much, that I don't know about. So it would be good to gather all that sort of information together. Yeah, definitely.
But we've already, for Dota at least, been able to, I don't want to say hand off like we're giving up, but just there are far more fanatical Dota 2 players in the community. So Sakarimbu and oh god, I've forgotten his name.
Dougie.
Yes.
Yeah, so I kind of feel like it's fantastic as well to sort of be able to share that stuff with people who are active and passionate within the games, rather than have that administrative overhead all tied up in a couple of people. It's really nice to share that around. Other community happenings, we just rolled out a small update to the website, thanks to John, Meklu, and Grinskatse. I can never say your name properly. Very sorry.
I mean, it was nothing big, was it? It was just some server additions, CSS tweaks, and HTML.
Yeah, the biggest change was probably adding support for additional server types to the website, so that because Grinskatse also put together a couple of extra servers for different games that we haven't previously had servers for, like Steel Storm, Running with Rifles, and King Arthur's Gold. And so adding support for those to be rendered nicely in the on the website there was probably the most visible feature, but it's definitely nice to have. So in addition to those servers I just mentioned, we now also have Half-Life, Half-Life Gun Game, Counter-Strike, Counter-Strike Gun Game, Counter-Strike Condition Zero, Team Fortress Classic, Day of Defeat, Ricochet servers, thanks to Grinscutzy as well. So we have fantastic range of games now that we previously didn't have, not limited to source games anymore. Hooray!
Awesome.
I see someone in chat is excited about Ricochet.
Awesome, yeah. That must be an event next month.
Yeah, well, yeah, we haven't gotten around to dealing with the July lineup, but we'll be getting to that next week, and yeah, Ricochet could very well be on the cards.
Ricochet too. Right. do we think that's more likely than Half-Life 3?
Well, that's what the Source 2 is about, is really bringing home Ricochet 2.
Nice.
Everything else is just a side project.
So, other things that people within the community have been doing, Soab has written a port report on Civilization 5, comparing its performance and behavior on different PC platforms, to give a bit of a sense of what the Linux port is in the broader context.
That was a really good write-up. He PM'd me to just help proofread it and the rest, and I'm glad that he put it on PC Gaming Wiki, because it looks like they might be having more content for that sort of thing, and I hear he's writing some more future ones.
That would be interesting.
Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to seeing where this goes. I mean, we've kind of bounced ideas around about it in the past, and it's nice to see this sort of stuff get realized, and it does really give some extra context to some of the ports that we get.
As for the content of the report, what did you think?
I thought it was fairly detailed. The only sort of feedback I have reflecting on it now is that it would be nice to have some kind of summary that maybe is a bunch of bulleted points or a small table that just kind of listed or checked off any key discrepancies, or kind of gave an indication of how much platform parity there is in the port. What about yourself?
I think the problem with any sort of scoring like that, people might just focus on the numbers and scroll all the way down and say, "Oh, okay, decent port," just like any other normal review. So I think you've got to be careful with sort of numerically scoring things.
Yeah. I wouldn't suggest attempting to use a numeric score on those. No.
There would be a better possibility to use something like a checklist for yes, no stuff it does, like proper XTG spec, adherence and stuff like that. Which feature set of direct, when the game was a direct export, which feature set does the OpenGL version support? So is it one of these Mac ports where it's old, so they only could do the DirectX 9 equivalent in OpenGL, or is it a newer one where they can go and all in and have the DirectX 10 equivalent?
Yeah, I do think that there are a number of key points that are quantifiable that we can just put a tick next to, or not necessarily as part of this series of articles. Maybe it has a place there, maybe it doesn't. I mean, I'm not writing them, so it's probably not my decision. But yeah, it's definitely a list of stuff like multi-monitor support, and whether or not it's got full screen modes that behave as they should on all platforms and that sort of stuff.
Well, the nicest thing with PC Gaming Wiki is it's got a semantic wiki backend, so exposing some of that information in that article, could easily be shared with the actual the games article for the main wiki. So producing that sort of information would be quite handy, and then you can easily look over sort of the sort of games that you're interested in supporting.
Yeah. But I mean, for those of us who, like, take XCOM for example, I hadn't played that until it became available for Linux, so I've got no context through which to interpret that. I have no idea whether it behaves better than it does on Linux or worse than it does on Windows. And so having someone go through and do that research is certainly going to make buying decisions a little bit easier for Linux gamers, I think.
Yeah. One of the issues we're going to have is that all of these games are predominantly developed on Windows and have the performance characteristics of that platform already. So it's going to be a bit of a worry when each port gets the slightly slower than Windows label, when obviously, understandably, if they're doing something that way and then they convert it, that it is going to miss out.
That's not necessarily always the case, though, is it?
With graphics, I mean, with the current issues with OpenGL shader caching and the rest, you regularly and often get more sluggish performance just on that. I mean, you can optimize it out, but it's whether they go to that effort to do so.
Yeah. But that's worth highlighting anyway, I think.
Yeah.
Also happening is the Double Fine Game Club will be playing The Fall starting this weekend. We have John Warner joining us for that as well. So if anybody has been playing The Fall or has been interested in checking out The Fall, I would recommend joining us there in the IRC chat or checking out the stream and joining the discussion. So, Steam and Valve news. What's been happening in client updates?
I've only had a chance to skim over these. I know that they've been doing quite a bit more work on the streaming side of things to better support acceleration and the rest. I saw that NVIDIA added support in their 650 and above to minimize the overhead for streaming, and that's about it.
Yeah, I haven't had a chance to keep a close eye to it. Every time I see something streaming related, I look to see if Linux hosting is back in, and when it's not, I lose interest.
I mean, that again, the point there is everything I've said is likely just on Windows. So yeah. And I also wanted to mention we've got the summer sale at the moment. It's called the Summer Adventure. And Swordfisher mentioned a couple of days ago that he got drunk and bought a whole load of cards, so he's up to his usual tricks.
I was going to say, that's not really a first, is it?
It's a standard.
No, it's not. But at least for the other sales, he managed to get in before they were, public knowledge, so he profited quite well from that. But this time, I think he fared poorly.
So, is there anything in the summer sale that you guys have picked up that you found interesting?
Oh yeah, absolutely. XCOM was pretty much the first game on the summer sale, directly after the game came out, and I instantly grabbed the whole package with the add-on Enemy Within. Did you pick up anything?
XCOM was the only thing I got, and I was planning to get that anyway.
I picked up Line, Circuits, Pexel, a couple of other smaller titles. I seem to have picked up most of the large titles like XCOM last year, just because we kind of knew they were coming. So I feel a little bad that hasn't contributed to the statistics, but what can you do there, really?
Well, if you've never played it on Windows, doesn't it contribute?
I think I thought it was playtime after you'd bought it, but since I bought it and then didn't play it, I honestly don't know how they break down the statistics. Because someone asked the other day in SteamLUG, and I didn't know, because people are worried now that they're going to be buying games because they know a port's coming, and then it's not going to obviously mark them as being a Linux user. So.
Well, Aspire was saying that they weren't going to get paid for any purchases which happened before their port was published.
Yeah, and that's just a bit of a shame of the current economics and how they've structured the system.
So yeah, just to be safe, don't buy games till the Linux port is actually out.
And also, not all Linux porters get their revenue as a cut of sales post-porting. Sometimes that's dealt with separately from Steam between the developer and whatever contractors they're using, if they're using contractors. So that's just one example of one type of arrangement that exists.
I wanted to thank a community member that gave me a gift the other day. Halfshot was kind enough to donate Risk of Rain to me. Apparently there's a port coming, so I'll be quite excited to play that if and when it arrives.
I'll go Halfshot.
Yeah, yay him.
He usually only trolls, so nice on him.
Wow.
Jeez.
Right, let's move on to the tech segment. Icarus recently gave a talk.
I've left a monster come into the base here. It's currently massacring everyone.
Oh, jeez. Wait a sec. Oh no, I'm good. Get that door shut.
Sorry. I saw someone die. It was good.
He gave a talk at South 2014 in his hometown. It's called the Linux Game Industry Talk. He goes over the start of, the initial ports and Loki and the story of Epic and how Unreal Tournament got its first port and the rest. It really interesting. Covers some new things that weren't known about, and the most remarkable thing is he gets 20 to 30 minutes in, and he's covered a whole decade. And you think, hang on, he's got up to fairly recent. What's going to happen in the rest of this talk? And he covers Valve and the Mac moves and everything else. And it's a really good broad history of the Linux gaming scene over the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, it's interesting to note as well that first decade does contain a lot of interesting stuff.
Well, to be fair, the early 2000s were when Linux gaming died for a moment, and it didn't really take up till after 2010.
If Loki had finished their Deus Ex port, it would have continued going up.
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, a lot of the issues were with business stuff and how that was handled.
Yeah.
So it's hard to know whether things would have gone differently if they hadn't gone under the way they did at that point in time.
No, it's just if that game is the game of the decade, then I think it would have done quite a bit more for the platform. That's all.
Oh yeah, totally.
I like Deus Ex, but you can't live on that alone.
I think I could. Unrealistic statement there. But I thought that was a really good talk. It would be interesting to see some of the other porters that have been around for maybe less time to give their side of the story and just slot in this history, because it'd be nice to have something to look back on in a few years' time. That's all.
Yeah, totally. Because this is this is stuff that not many people are bothering to record. These types of things not many people are bothering to talk about this stuff, mainly because we're all excited to just have games, and that's all that matters is getting that stuff. But actually chronicling the history of what's going on is, to me, that seems quite worthwhile.
It certainly is.
Yeah, but I also found the perspective itself interesting for somebody that hasn't been on Linux that long, and it's just a part I have never experienced at all. And even the stuff that recently happened, his perspective on it is probably one of the most unique and insightful on the matter.
Definitely.
Hmm.
Oh, hang on, I have to go and open this door again.
This guy's got a really neat torch or something. It's like a purple beam. Bark Drinker, I think it is.
We love you, Bark Drinker.
I'm not sure who that is, but okay.
And your torch.
Right, so...
And the way that you drink bark.
Let's move on to gaming news. Let's cover some Steam releases. Probably the most famous one that we might have hinted at already is XCOM.
XCOM!
That includes Unknown and Enemy Within. Have you guys been finding it?
I really like it.
The port itself is quite good. I have some performance issue when I'm playing for a longer time. Almost every issue I have is with the game itself. It has a lot of BS built into it that is unbelievable. Like the difficulty gap between normal and classic. On normal, it's a breeze early on. You can play this on Iron Man easily, don't lose anyone. And on classic, you instantly get murdered all the time. Find it hard to find a challenge there. And it has quite a few bugs that are, I believe, universal. Sometimes the enemy AI just refuses to make a move, and then you have to pretty much quit the game and restart and hope the enemy AI doesn't fuck up again.
I haven't had any of that sort of problem, though I have noticed some performance issues.
I had heard from listening to podcasts, a few years ago when the game initially released, that the console ports were pretty the console releases were fairly unstable. So that, are we sure that's not just the game in general has quite flaky behaviour?
Yeah, well, all the problems that I encountered, such as a little bit of lagginess and stuttering during cutscenes, a bit of a internet search around the place seemed to suggest that this is stuff that Windows users have encountered as well. So I kind of haven't noticed anything that has been explicitly Linux specific that I know of.
But I hadn't played it till this last week, and frustratingly, it released while I was away, so I've only had about half an hour in it so far, and I'm definitely liking what I've played so far. So yeah, really happy with that.
I was talking with someone the other day, and they asked me how I was playing. They said, "Are you saving every turn and then loading if you make a mistake?" And I went, "Oh no, I haven't actually loaded at all. Just been playing straight." And we got to talking about how some of the game dynamics work, and that a particular mission reduces panic across the entire globe when you complete it. And they were worried that they waited too long to do that and had lost a couple of member nations, and that made me a little bit paranoid. And I thought, oh geez, I better go and do this mission. So I dived in with all of my top ranking dudes. I waited for them all to heal up after their recent skirmishes, and took them all in, and I was ambushed by, I don't know, at least 12 chrysalids, and they all came at once, and they just like this massive long wall of them, and I'm like, how am I meant to survive this? It's not possible, because I had all my dudes bunched up, so they got eaten, and the stuff that happens, and I thought maybe this mission is something that you're meant to fail. It's like part of the plot, and the game cruelly takes away your your best people that you've got available at that point. So I failed the mission, went back to the base, and it said, oh, by the way, you got to go back to that mission and solve it.
Nice.
But I did load at that point, and I held off another few days, did some more tech research, and absolutely walked through the mission. All the chrysalids came in groups of twos and threes. They're certainly manageable, and I ended up only losing one dude.
Very nice. Because I'm inexperienced with the game, I played 3 missions without any problems. I would save at the start of a mission just once. I didn't want to get compulsive like I do in games like Morrowind. And I managed to lose one guy. One guy got incapacitated and was bleeding out, and I couldn't save him. And then I thought, I'll play this another day.
I wasn't sure if I would actually get that into the game, and so I talked to somebody I knew who had played it before, Brad Muir from Double Fine. So I said, hey Brad, thinking of buying XCOM now that it's on Linux, would you recommend it? And he gave me a lot of smiley faces and said I should check it out. What I thought was that it might give me some insight into what Massive Chalice is going to be like, because it's similar sort of gameplay, and I wasn't necessarily expecting to be hugely engaged by XCOM, but I find it really interesting the way that you start to get a little bit precious about your soldiers. You've trained them up over a couple of missions, and you start to feel that that they're worth looking after, they're worth preserving. So you take a different attitude towards how you handle units that you've had for a few missions, and I find that really interesting, and a way to sort of stay engaged, I guess, with the gameplay beyond just winning the mission. But I must say, I do kind of take a red shirt along. It's the sacrificial red shirt.
Yeah, I lost my best mech in a really mean flanking attack by one really special alien in one of these special missions. Suddenly they came from behind.
Sounds like a B movie.
And I would honestly say sometimes this game teleports units. When the game thinks they are out of sight, it will teleport them, and they then come from another direction. I had like one enemy mech directly in front of me. Then he disappeared, and then I thought it was another mech came from a completely different direction. And when I checked it out, it was the same one, and he couldn't have moved that far in that time, and then attacked me on top of that.
Lovely.
So the game is cheating a bit in the background.
Interesting. So, also recently released on Steam is Heroes Rise, The Prodigy, and the Hero Project. World's End Economica, Episode 1. Xenoraptor, Fancy Skulls, Wizards Lizards, Derek the Death Fin, Nightmare Tower, Farm for Your Life. Doesn't that sound riveting? I saw a friend of mine playing that and I was like, is it any good? And they went, don't judge me.
Lovely.
And what does that tell you about a game?
Yeah.
But, if that's what you're into, sweet. Battle Group 2, Thinking with Time Machine, which is a pretty sweet Portal mod that is free to play, worth checking out.
Have you played that much?
I've managed to sink a couple of hours into it, and I am massively enjoying it so far. It's a little bit heftier in the requirements than vanilla Portal 2.
Yeah.
But it's fun, and it gives you a sense of the mechanics encourage you to solve puzzles, much more complex puzzles and much more open puzzles than you would kind of have with the traditional. Once you get the hang of placing portals is placing portals, right?
Yeah. But then with obviously time, it's placing you spatially in an environment.
Yeah, it becomes really interesting because you kind of not only do you end up using yourself as a platform to climb up, or getting yourself to place a portal at a particular time so that you can place that other portal yourself. There's a whole bunch of different combinations and different techniques of using time travel within the game that become really interesting. You're passing yourself cubes across beams that you couldn't normally walk through and stuff. It's all really fascinating, and I absolutely love it. It's like really well designed.
That's good to hear. I think I'll put more time into that then.
Yeah, I haven't tested this yet. I might do that.
So have you played it at all, John?
I popped in for about 20 minutes, and then I got interrupted by something, so it is a way of life. I think I hadn't finished the tutorial.
Yeah, okay. It's worth sticking with.
A game that everyone's been hopefully expecting to be on Steam properly has finally had a proper native port, which I'm happy has surprised quite a few in our community. Now, I'd been testing this a few months ago, and it has been immensely frustrating when people have brought the topic up and you're just not allowed to mention anything. But yeah, it's a really good port. It's Limbo. It's a really good game. What do you guys think?
I honestly haven't had a chance to play the native version yet, but I'm very interested to see how it compares with the original wine-wrapped version.
I didn't play much of the wine-wrapped version, and I hadn't actually finished it, so I'm going to talk about the game if that's okay.
Do it.
Absolutely lovely. The puzzles aren't overly complex, so it's more of a steady progression through this character's life. I was immensely disappointed with the ending, though. The last room, if you can remember it, where you have to sort of flip gravity and then fall through something. I was like, what? I'm not going to say the ending after that, but yeah, it was a little disappointing, I have to say.
Yeah, I've played a lot of the Grindwrap version when it came out through Humble Bundle, and I must say I wasn't really that amazed. I'm sick and tired of platformers, and Limbo was a competent one, but I just had no use for it after a while. I thought I've seen all its tricks, and the only thing left would be a pretentious story, so I didn't bother with it.
Now, the Playdead studio have just released a trailer at E3 for a new upcoming game that should be coming to PC fairly soon, so we'll see if that comes to the other platforms as well. And that game looks like Limbo in 3D.
Interesting.
But still side-scrolling.
Yes.
So, coming back to XCOM for a moment, Liam from GamingOnLinux.com did a interview with Feral Interactive, the porting studio, traditionally known for Mac ports, who did the XCOM port. Have you guys had a chance to read that?
I skimmed over it. I got the gist of it, yes.
Yeah, I've read it. It was quite decent. And the best news is that we should hold out for more Linux ports from them.
Yep, and I have to say thank you for Liam for doing that.
Yeah, totally.
It's quite an informative read, and it's incredibly positive. So yeah.
The bits that stand out to me, it feels like the person that Liam was interviewing here has said all the right things at the right points. The key one is that they recognise that for a game that's been out for so long, the number of sales that they're likely to make is not going to be huge, but they're viewing it as an investment in the future, an investment in the loyalty of Linux gamers, and I think that's a really good way to view porting legacy titles like that.
Yeah, it's a really good attitude, and hopefully because this is it's still a fairly complicated title. I know they mentioned they're using VP9 for the video cutscenes and the rest, so they're definitely not sort of jumping to Theora and being happy with that and the rest. So I'm generally excited to see what they do in the future.
And they do offer some advice in there for developers who are looking at Linux porting.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're interested in that stuff, definitely have a read. And the role that these kind of these games that have been out for a few years or a couple of years, the role that they can play can be pretty significant. I mean, the Civ 5 port that we've seen, I feel pretty confident that while that's not going to make a huge number of sales, people who are going to play it under Linux, like myself, already owned it. A lot of people already had it in their library, but it certainly makes future titles such as Civilization Beyond Earth much, much more accessible. So having an existing catalog there sort of primes the market a little bit to be more receptive for what comes next.
I wouldn't even see it like that. I think there's, at least on the long tail of things, the possibility to break even with it and make a profit. Nothing great, but people are buying these games. And after Civ 5 came out, my entire Linux part of my friends list was playing Civ 5 at the same time, and people that have never played it before have played it. So I wouldn't be too pessimistic about that.
Well, that's not really calling that pessimistic, or I wouldn't call that pessimistic. I mean, I certainly believe that there's a chance to make some profit, but it's not going to be a huge thing. It's not going to be like you launch a game on Linux and you go, oh wow, we've Linux has become this massive money train that we didn't know about. We're going to hop on board.
Choo choo.
It can't work like that.
That isn't true either way yet. So
yeah.
Choo choo. But yeah, no, totally. People have been picking it up. People have been playing it. I mean, I still see more people playing Civ on my friends list than any other game combined.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's one of those titles I'm sure an awful lot of people are going to pop into when they can. I just wish I wasn't so busy in the evenings now, so that I can actually play some games I can enjoy.
Well, it's funny. I had sat down to play Civ, and I thought, I'll just see how well it works. And then 17 hours later, I went, oh, it's lunchtime.
Lovely.
And aside from a very, very quick game with Nemoda and Steve, which I had to abandon halfway through, I haven't been brave enough to go anywhere near it because I don't want to risk losing that time again.
Yeah. No, I had the same thing with XCOM. I started playing it, and then it was 4:00 in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, what's?" But that shows you how well those games are. It's not something that you're like, I don't really fancy playing this. It is definitely a game that you're like, I could play this for hours. So yeah, really impressed.
XCOM is a little bit easier to step away from, though. You've got a much shorter time frame. The missions are sort of modular,
Yeah, especially after it murders you brutally, you just want to step away from it for a moment.
So Thomas Was Alone got some updates within the past couple of days.
Yes, it did. It's some, as he calls it, free DLC. It's actually an extra 2 chapters, apparently originally for the PlayStation release, called Benjamin's Flight, and it's Benjamin and his father.
Oh, interesting. So does this happen after the main story, or is it interwoven with what's in there, do you know?
I honestly can't say. It feels like it's standalone by itself. I've only got to like the 5th or 6th level. The kid has a jetpack, so obviously it's a new mechanic, and all the walls are covered in spikes. And I was just playing with keyboard, and you had to go through a little narrow corridor with spikes at the bottom. And yeah, I was just like, I'll play this again some other day. But it's always nice to see a developer updating their game and putting some extra content in for, as he calls it, free, because it was late. So yeah,
it was a little bit of a bumpy ride to get to release on Linux, at least, though.
Yeah, a few issues. Initially, just because he pushed it without sort of realizing what he was doing. There were some case issues. The name of the executable had changed, so the config was incorrect, and he'd forgotten to include all the Steam API libraries and the rest. But after a bit of back and forth on Twitter, and then him sleeping on it, and then him getting a couple of other people to test it, he got it sorted. So that's great.
Yeah, I think it got sorted within a day or something, I think it was.
Yeah, I'd say that.
Yeah. So it was good to see that that got sorted, and certainly a learning experience for everyone. Be aware of case issues.
Yep.
Octodad has had a DLC just announced within the past couple of days called Octodad Shorts.
Now, what is this? I mean, I know what Octodad is, but what are these shorts? Are they little missions? Or?
Yeah, they're sort of like smaller standalone stories where the entire story takes place in one mission or one level, from what I understand. So they end up being a little bit bigger than what you would have had in the normal Octodad campaign, but each one is much more self-contained.
Do you know if these are community made at all, or are they?
I don't believe so. I think they're being developed in-house. It says that it has over 0 unconscious ragdolls, so definitely keep an eye out for those, hey?
Interesting selling manner. And to update everyone on Starbound, I've fallen into a deep cave and I've been poisoned, and there's a thing attacking.
Oh, would you like me to come and rescue you?
I'm too far down, I'm gonna die.
Alright, well, I'm sleeping in probably Beard Drinker's bed. I don't know who this belongs to.
That wasn't my bed.
Shrine Enhanced Edition has entered beta on Steam.
This is exciting. Well, it on Steam for Windows, the beta is not available for Linux and Mac just yet. I'm not sure what kind of lag time we're going to see on that, but hopefully it won't be too long.
Now, what's enhanced about this?
So what they've done is they've taken Trine 1 and they have ported the game across to the Trine 2 engine. They've reworked a lot of the visuals. They have included features that the Trine 2 engine supports, such as online multiplayer and so forth. So we're looking at a bit of an overhaul of the game as a whole.
Okay.
There are a couple of changes to a few of the levels. It's using new player models and so forth as well. And they're still offering you the ability to play the original game as it originally shipped.
Does that change any of the mechanics for some of the levels because they've got different powers? Or, I mean, is it they're just using the engine, they haven't changed any of the mechanics for the characters?
Oh, they keep all the original skills for the characters, but some of the levels themselves have been changed a little bit as well. So they're talking about all new gameplay. Now I've got to clarify that as I don't have Windows and the Trine 2 engine hasn't been compatible with Wine for some time, I haven't actually had any hands-on experience with this myself. But hopefully I'll be able to have some new details to share within a few days.
Okay, awesome.
But yeah, definitely keep an eye on that. Looks exciting. It's going to be fun to revisit the original Trine again with the features that made Trine 2 so exciting when it launched. Assault Android Cactus has had its 7th early access update, which features some new enemies and a new boss rush mode, which allows you to sequentially play through all of the boss fights in one life to put yourself through some extra torture if you need it. There are a bunch of couple of new levels which explore some new mechanics and stuff, which are kind of neat. And they've added support for the leaderboards back into 64-bit builds for Linux, which is nice for people who prefer to run those.
Neat.
Pretty cool. Worth checking out. They're getting closer and closer to release. I'm looking forward to seeing them polish off the last few levels, get the last boss in there, and polish it up for release. It's going to be pretty exciting.
Do you know what sort of time frame they're on now for that?
I don't know. I'm not certain whether or not they have a time frame at this point. I think they're just ploughing ahead at whatever speed they can. That's speculation, though.
Okay, awesome.
John died, and I'm safely inside, protected from the rain and lightning.
I managed to. I walked east and then fell down the mining shaft we made. And then I crafted some wooden platforms and then couldn't find them in my inventory, so I'm being a bit of a noob. So on the last cast, we talked to John Warner of Over the Moon Games about his game of the fall, and we were discussing about possible changes to the input using the mouse to attack things, and apparently some of those changes actually got into the game. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, so last cast we suggested that because mouse capture has been a much requested feature for the game, and during the last cast we sort of threw back and forth a couple of ideas about how that might be implemented, and whilst John ended up finding his own path to that, it's kind of similar to the sorts of stuff we discussed, and it's everybody I've talked to says that they feel that their mouse control's better. So that's worth checking out if you felt that you had problems with mouse control in the game originally. John's also pushed out a new trailer for the game. It's now available on Humble Store. Actually, was it out on Humble Store when we did the last cast? I can't remember.
No, it was going to be the Tuesday afterwards.
That's right. I knew it was very close to that. So that's out now, and apparently had a fairly positive launch.
Yeah, I saw it even outselling Rust and some other popular games for a moment on the Humble Store.
Yeah, it stayed up on the first page for quite some time as well, which is cool to see.
I solved my platform issue. It was on inventory page 2.
Yeah, I haven't quite worked out why there's a second inventory page that's meant to look like it's just for terrain types or something.
Yeah, I had hoped they'd sort of filter that so that blocks would automatically go there so that you can actually, see your interesting items that you pick up. But
Right.
maybe that's a future thing, or maybe it's just so that it gives you a sort of labelled inventory item to sort of, disambiguate the two.
The developers of The Journey Down, which is a point-and-click adventure game that supports Linux, been around for a little while. Chapter 2 of that is on the way. It's getting pretty close to release. The developers a couple months back launched a dev blog so people can follow progress and check out what's going on there. And yesterday they put up a whole bunch of new screenshots of Chapter 2 up onto their website so people can check them out if they're interested. We did Chapter 1 for Game Club last year, and we had developers along and had chat about it. It was pretty cool.
I remember buying that game the day it came out on Desura when Steam wasn't even around for Linux. And
yeah, I bought it on Desura as well.
Yeah, it was extremely expensive for what it was, but it was quite good, and I've almost given up on waiting for the second episode because it really took them a long time. That is over 2 years now. I hope this will get significantly bigger than the first one.
Did either of you two finish the game?
I finished the first episode, yeah.
Yes, so did I. It was not that long. It was actually quite short for what you paid initially. They lowered the price incredibly soon, and all the previous owners were entitled to a free soundtrack, but it was still a very short game, even for an episodic one. But it was good. It was really good at what it did. It invoked a really classic Monkey Island style, Grim Fandango style, point-and-click flair, the stuff you have been missing from LucasArts.
Yeah, it's got fantastic soundtrack. The voice acting was really solid, and the art's really nice too. It's got some good humor in it.
Yeah, if you're one of those classic LucasArts style adventure gamers, you should pick up the first one. It's probably extremely cheap by now, and it is on Steam. If you only buy your stuff on Steam, if you're that crazy person.
Yeah. Have you tried it, John?
I have tried it. I think I picked it up in a bundle. I played a few hours into it, and I was quite content with it. But I don't know. I think the story wasn't grasping me as much as it probably should have done. So.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, you just played through the intro of the actual story that should be happening in that game now.
I do find it really hard. It always surprises me when people quote stats to say so many people didn't finish games, and I really do tend to play through all the games I enjoy, and sometimes I'll play through games that I don't enjoy so much. But I'm sure to go back to it. But with other more interesting games to sort of fill me in at the time, it's really hard to sort of think, well, I'll just play that to get through it. So it's a shame, really.
Tell us about Mountain Blade. Who knows about Mountain Blade?
I know of it. I don't. It's not Mountain Blade, isn't it? Mountain Blade Warbound.
Yeah.
Because there are 2 of them, or 3, and the rest.
There are a lot of them.
It's been around for a long time. The Mountain Blade franchise. You want to call it a franchise?
Yeah, it pretty much is a franchise by now. It's some kind of medieval RPG. I have no idea what's...
Is it sort of like Chivalry? Medieval combat based.
Yeah.
Third person. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that looks familiar. 2010. Okay. I don't know much more about the game than that, so yeah.
No, me neither.
That game's in beta. If you're interested, download it. Sorry, geez.
I know a little bit about it, but I want to double check my facts before I start talking. I'm pretty sure this game started out as a mod at the same time that I was working on the original Half-Life mods that I worked on, and so it's been really interesting to see people who had the same kind of scale that we had back then grow up to be something huge by comparison.
Nice.
So good work to those guys for getting something awesome off the ground.
Yeah. What we will do is link Expander's video for the game, so check it out. Now, did we want to talk about this topic? I know we sort of discussed it slightly beforehand.
I don't mind. I don't mind talking about it. You want to talk about it? You want to talk about DerRidda?
I don't mind.
It's just how to lead with it, really.
So so recently it came to light that developer. Oh, I'm poisoned. Developer Grand PC. Is that how we like to say his name?
Grand PC, yeah.
The fellow who has been working on Stanley Parable for Linux has expressed that he feels a bit attacked and a bit underappreciated by some comments on the Steam community forums for the game, who are complaining about it taking a long time and being a bit demeaning, being certainly a bit abusive and inappropriate. What's your guys' take on this?
It seems to have been mostly 1 or 2 guys that have riffed on him, and it's really sad to see that single individuals can make such a negative impression on developers. So everybody should keep in mind, when they are making statements and identify themselves as Linux users, they will be seen as an example of the entire Linux community. So do not screw around, be a nice person, don't be a dick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's good advice in general.
Yeah, we've in previous casts we've spoken about it. I mean, when it was just myself and DerRidda talking, we discussed how to approach developers for ports and the rest, and it generally stems from that. You have to be decent to other people. Just generally, not even for asking for Linux ports, really.
Yeah, just be nice to people. There's no real value in being a douchewaffle.
Yeah, but
But it seems you have shown him around the good side of the community, and he has come around on his position.
I had a chat with him a few days ago, and he had some nice feedback about the SteamLUG community, which was really cool to hear. But it really came as a shock to me to discover that there were people getting cranky about it, and it makes me wonder. Like, I mean, I knew that a port was in the works, and I've been supportive. Talked to him a couple of times. He knew that I was supportive, so I sort of never really felt any need to go to the Steam forums to look for progress or anything, or to demand updates of where things were. Maybe it's a sad reality that perhaps venues like this at the moment are the place where people who want to engage in these sorts of behaviours gravitate towards.
I would probably agree with that. Steam forums at times can be rather prickly, so. But I've had some decent chats with Gran. You know, he's a sound egg, so I mean he is immensely frustrated and disappointed by it. But I think he understands that there are an awful lot of people in the Steam Linux community that are incredibly supportive of him, and it would just be nice if we show that to developers a bit more.
Yeah, and like the context, I guess, is that this guy's working on a game, and he's working with an engine that is not necessarily the easiest to work with, especially backporting or retrofitting changes to support an additional platform into a game that's already been finished and released is a bit of work and can be a bit stressful. And the last thing that anybody who's trying to get stuff done needs is someone hassling them like that,
Absolutely. And we have mentioned Grand PC on the podcast before, but the last time we actually beeped out his name. So if any of you remember that episode, then
we did.
You might get a bit more context.
Yeah, and I was almost tempted to bring that up again and say, good times.
Why did we beep out his name?
Probably saying why it defeats the point of it. Yeah.
A controversial prank thing. Good times. I got a giggle. Some people didn't.
Well, Harlem Shake gave me a giggle too.
I have no idea what that is. Hooray for being sheltered from whatever that represents.
Just Timmy's ban recently.
Right, yeah.
But that's all context you're going to get for that. Now, Goat Simulator has come out for Linux and Mac. It looks to be labelled as
all your goat simulating dreams are about to come true.
Yeah, it looks to be labelled as a beta, so be cautious. But yeah, if you want to be foolish and pretend to be a goat, you're welcome.
I think emphasis on pretending to be a goat, right?
Oh yeah, some people might enjoy that.
I'm waiting for Rock Simulator.
Rock Simulator?
Yeah, that's the latest drama on the internet today. I really don't see a problem with it. I think it's ridiculous, but whatever. People can do that if they want.
If you're a YouTuber, you should buy this. It generates you money, free money for your YouTube channel.
How would it make more than one video though?
I don't know. Some Let's Players can drag out everything. Absolutely everything.
Ooh, I found a chest.
Getting ourselves poisoned. So Valve have pushed out a new batch of Greenlight titles a couple of days ago.
Squirted out.
This time with Squirted. Have emitted 37 of 75 with Linux support.
Mm-hmm.
Anything amongst this list that strikes either of your interests?
Literally none of them.
I'm recognizing a few from Tesura I never bought on there as well, so nope, not really. It's still the Floodgate, still the stuff hardly anyone cares about.
I know of one of the titles on this because someone in our IRC channel mentioned it. Say Void Space. A space MMORPG that take Dodge coins for payment. It's free to play and it's nowhere near finished. It's in prototype mode. They've got an Indiegogo campaign, and that's about it.
So one thing that did stand out to me as I went through this list earlier was RC mini races. I looked at it and I went, this is be pretty sweet if this was like Revolt or something. And you know what? It's Revolt,
awesome.
Pretty much. You familiar with that game, DerRidda?
No, I have never been that big into racing games.
So Revolt was this game where you played like these little radio-controlled cars, and you drive around like the suburban streets and stuff, or backyards and that sort of thing. And it's got the kind of mechanics that you'd find in like one of those console kart games where you can pick up a thing and it'll let you drop an explosive on someone or use a turbo or something. So it's kind of got that little bit of an arcadey feel to it, I guess.
Console-like thing. You mean sort of Mario Kart, or is it less enjoyable?
I guess I never played that, so I don't know that I can comment too directly. But kind of the sort of thing that you find in Super Tux Kart, because it's the creme de la creme of kart games.
Fair enough.
It has a DeLorean, a pretend DeLorean in it.
It sure does. What more could you want? I mean, seriously. But the screenshots don't ring it out. But as soon as I saw the video, like it's totally got a real Revolt vibe about it.
I have just got a trumpet.
Wow.
That's great news, isn't it?
I keep walking back and forth, and somebody is planting gardens or something, and I'm like, how does this happen? I have never really worked out how to.
You sure it's just not
grow
natural
stuff or do stuff?
or something, or?
I don't think it's natural. I mean, it doesn't look natural.
I know you can plant seeds, but I haven't ever done that yet.
You need a hoe dog. You need to hoe it all down.
I think
then you
Dr.
can plant
Glitch here
stuff.
may have been planting them, because it's like corns in a straight row. And now I'll go and steal all the corn. No one have any left. But yeah, RC Mini Races. I'm gonna grab that as soon as it comes out. I'm gonna play the hell out of it and be fun.
Awesome, neat. Someone said, what game was that was interesting looking?
Sproggywood.
Yeah. Have to have a look at that.
I thought the name looked interesting, but it didn't really grab me when I was flicking through the list there. But for anybody else who wants to check it out, if I talk slowly enough, I can totally find it while I'm talking, and then nobody will be any the wiser that I didn't already have it on hand.
Is it Necrodancer?
Yeah.
It looks very much like that, but I guess it's not rhythm-based.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I saw the little dude in the animated GIF, and that was about, or GIF, or whatever you would like to say.
It's only GIF. F those guys. But yeah, I mean, standard mazy sort of game. Right, I think we've probably exhausted that.
Yeah, right.
Also exhausted all of our crowdfunding, I think. Unless we want to mention this one thing. Because there's a summer sale at the moment, Valve have decided that they want to add Kickstarter to it. So they've actually got a Kickstarter sale page now.
I think this is something they've put together in partnership with Kickstarter, because it's been advertised through the Kickstarter website as well. It's just kind of a list of all the games that are being kickstarted that are on Steam at the moment, and a reminder that these games exist and people can check them out.
I did not know that Awesome Nauts had kickstarted. That's completely news to me.
Yeah, there are a bunch of titles here that that people sort of haven't been aware of. It seems like most of them are probably either very, very recent or pre, the Double Fine adventure. I still talk to people who don't know that FTL was crowdfunded.
I know, that's so surprising, isn't it? Because I think everyone tends to look on Kickstarted games as being pretty terrible. But just scrolling through the list, I mean, there have been some really good games that have come out of it, at least.
Oh yeah, I went through the list and I think I've got about a dozen, maybe over a dozen. I'm really happy with everything that I've backed.
I look at that state and it makes me angry.
Why's that?
I was asking them about Linux support and they just completely ignored it. They were like so dismissive of it as a Kickstarted game.
Oh, so you're being hunted? I mean, yeah, I've probably got just under half a dozen of these.
Yeah, okay. No, I didn't know that Space Chem was originally crowdfunded.
I thought that was pretty old, isn't it?
Yeah, it is going back a little bit.
Maybe it was before the Kickstarter hype that appeared, pre-FTL probably.
Yeah, well, even FTL was pretty early, I thought. But it certainly was a notable one.
No, FTL was after Double Fine Adventure.
It was? Are you certain?
I am perfect certain because I saw it on crowdfunding and I wasn't interested then. And I only ever looked at that stuff after I knew about it through Wasteland 2, pretty much. It was even after Wasteland 2.
That was still a few years ago, wasn't it, though? I mean,
Oh wow, that's like April 1st, 2012, you're right.
ages.
Here I was thinking that the reason that I didn't hear about it was because I thought it preceded that by a year or two. So now I've got no excuse.
Yeah. But yeah, Kickstarter's produced some brilliant games and some terrible ones. But yeah, a good selection. The Fall is in there as well. That's $3.50 at the moment, 50% off. If anyone didn't get it, grab it.
Also, this is a PSA. System Shock 2 is on the community choice sale for another 4.5 hours. If you're listening to this now, you should probably pick up System Shock 2. It's on your must playlist for all gamers everywhere. No exception.
Sorry, that was pounds, Corbin.
No.
I just died.
Oh, I'm immensely cold because it's night time.
Right, I think we should wrap up the show with that.
Thank you very much for sharing yet another cast with us.
Yep, it's been fun recording. Having Starbound in the background probably hasn't been as productive as we hoped, but we have managed to build a little house. Hopefully we'll...
I did that.
Okay, DerRidda built a little house and I stole the poster from it. And hopefully
Yes.
we'll have
And I slept in the
that
bed.
screenshot at the end of the show notes.
Thanks to everybody for listening.
Yep, as usual, you can contact us, SteamLUG at SteamLUG... no, wrong email. Shut up, John.
Whoops.
As normal, you can contact us, cast at steamlug.org, give us feedback about the show, and...
You can also follow us on Twitter as @SteamLUG.
Exactly, Expo.
Oh,
Yeah.
Explore, hang on, before we stop, we were talking about community stuff, and Explore said he's not part of the community, and I totally disagree with that.
He totally is.
Tell us the thing you did.
Well, now he's going to get shy.
Kind of tempted to unmute him.
Hello.
Oh, hi.
Hey!
I had the lowest price tracking on SteamDB today.
Awesome.
So on sale it shows if a game was on lower discount previously.
Oh, nice.
And same stuff on the app page.
That's dangerously close to enhanced Steam sort of quality. Are you going to move into that territory, do you think, with a little extension?
Well, we have an extension, but it just links, and I was working on another one to highlight owned games on Steam, but never really got around to finish it properly. But it's on GitHub if anyone wants to try it out.
Yep, I saw your
Sweet.
recent pokes with that. What was the name of it?
I'll link.
Okay, cool.
It's a weird name.
Right, that has been SteamLUG.
Cast?
Thank you for listening.
Yay!
That went so well to the last minute. You had a bit of breakup then again, DerRidda. I don't know if you changed something.
You guys are breaking up. You're
Both of
you're
us?
through, sick of each other's stuff. Yeah? What? No.
Oh, okay, I see.
I say, yeah. A pun. Sorry.
It was really bad.
Sorry,
I'm sorry
I
for
thought you
you.
actually being
It was
serious
pretty
then.
bad.
I was panicking.
Me? Serious? What are you talking about? Good Star Trek joke there.
And the last...
So we.
Sorry, you go.
I was just going to say we sort of skipped over Limbo a bit there. It's probably worth touching on.
I was just about to say that, yes.
Great minds think alike.
Bark Drinker was his name.
Bark Drinker.
Yes, got to get the name
Beard
right.
Drinker is is better.
As somebody who's owned a goat, I have to say that every
You've owned a goat?
Goat simulator video that I've seen is factually accurate. His name was Ted. But the best thing about Ted, our goat, was that you could get like you're looking at, you see an animal, you interact with it. There's some kind of living being in there, you can interact with. You look at the goat and you look in its eye, and there's nothing. So yeah, Valve pushed out 37 new Linux supporting green light
Thing.
lighted type.
Yes.
Let's try that again. Do we want to try that again?
Yeah, sure.